Hello, young man. I'm glad you're here to listen to my story, a story about the struggle against perfectionism and how I overcame my own anxieties to become the hero I am today. You see, being a crime fighter, a protector of the innocent, and a symbol of hope for the people of Gotham is not an easy task. It requires a tremendous amount of responsibility, courage, and determination. But, as you may know, I wasn't always this way. In fact, I used to be plagued by perfectionism, always striving for flawlessness and terrified of making mistakes. As a young man, I was driven by a strong sense of justice and a desire to make a difference in the world. But this drive was also accompanied by an intense fear of failure. I was afraid that if I wasn't perfect, if I made even the smallest mistake, I would let everyone down, including myself. This fear held me back. It made me hesitant to take action, and it made me overthink every decision. I would spend hours, even days, analyzing every possible outcome, every possible mistake, and every possible consequence. But one day I realized that this approach wasn't working. I was stuck. I was paralyzed by my own fear of imperfection, and I knew I had to make a change. I began to understand that perfectionism is not about being flawless. It's about being fearless. It's about embracing uncertainty, taking risks, and learning from our mistakes. I started to focus on progress, not perfection. I started to see that every mistake, every failure, was an opportunity to learn, to grow, and to become a better version of myself. Now, I'm not saying it was easy. It took time, effort, and a lot of self-reflection. I had to confront my own fears, my own doubts, and my own limitations. I had to learn to accept myself, to accept my imperfections, and to accept that I'm not perfections. And you know what? It was liberating. It was freeing to know that I didn't have to be perfect, that I could make mistakes, and that I could learn from them. As I continued on this journey, I began to apply this mindset to my work as a crime fighter. I started to take more risks. I started to trust my instincts. And I started to trust myself. I knew that I wasn't going to be perfect, that I was going to make mistakes, but I also knew that I could learn from them, and that I could use them to become a better hero. And you know what? It worked. I started to see results. I started to make a difference, and I started to feel more confident in my abilities. I was no longer held back by my fear of imperfection, and I was no longer paralyzed by my own doubts. I was free to be myself, to make mistakes, and to learn from them. Now, I want to share this lesson with you, young man. I want you to know that you don't have to be perfect, that you can make mistakes, and that you can learn from them. I want you to know that it's okay to be imperfect, that it's okay to take risks, and that it's okay to trust yourself. You see, the biggest obstacle to success is not failure, it's not making mistakes, it's the fear of making mistakes. It's the fear of being imperfect. So, I want you to take a step back, and I want you to look at your own life. I want you to look at your own fears, your own doubts, and your own limitations. I want you to ask yourself, what's holding me back? What's preventing me from taking action? What's preventing me from being the best version of myself? And I want you to confront those fears, those doubts, and those limitations. I want you to face them head on, and I want you to overcome them. You see, young man, the struggle against perfectionism is a lifelong journey. It's a journey that requires patience, persistence, and self-reflection. But it's a journey that's worth taking, because when you overcome your own perfectionism, when you overcome your own fears, and when you overcome your own doubts, you'll be amazed at what you can achieve. You'll be amazed at the person you can become. So, don't be afraid to make mistakes, don't be afraid to take risks, and don't be afraid to be imperfect. Because when you do, you'll be free to be yourself. You'll be free to make a difference, and you'll be free to become the hero you've always wanted to be. And remember, young man, you're not alone in this journey. We all struggle with perfectionism, we all struggle with fear, and we all struggle with doubt. But we can all overcome them. We can all learn to accept ourselves, to accept our imperfections, and to trust ourselves. So, I want to leave you with a quote from my good friend, Alfred Pennyworth. He once said, "Master Bruce, the greatest glory in living lies not in never falling, but in rising every time we fall." And that's exactly what I want you to do, young man. I want you to rise every time you fall. I want you to learn from your mistakes, and I want you to become a better version of yourself. And if you feel this talk helpful, don't forget like and subscribe. And if you want to be a more grateful person, you can donate on the Patreon account. Link on description. See you soon, friend.